G'day mates, Ordinary Average Guy here. So Ben from Blade HQ, or used to work at Blade HQ anyway, finally got his wish and they made a mini bug out. So I'm going to be, I got one to check out guys. I'm going to be doing a quick review on the mini. And you know, I also picked up the CF Elite version of the bug out too. Thought I'd just kind of kill two birds with one stone here and review these guys at the same time. So look, man, full disclosure, I'm a really big fan of Benchmade for a couple different reasons. First off, made in America, gotta love that. They come out of Oregon, where, you know, a lot of great knife companies are based. ZT, Leatherman, I think Gerber's out of there as well. You know, a lot of great American knife companies are based out of Oregon, and these guys are as well. Look, big part of why I'm a big fan is the fact these knives are fully ambidextrous, meaning it's the exact same experience for a lefty as it is for a righty. A lot of knife companies make ambidextrous knives, whereas meaning you can flip the pocket clip, but very few are fully ambidextrous in the sense that I just said, that they're the exact same experience for a lefty as a righty. Lefties get screwed out of so many cool knife designs out there. I'm a big champion for people making ambidextrous or left-handed versions of their knives. You know, so I do appreciate that about the Benchmade Knife Company. And that's to do with this access lock here, which we'll get into here in a little bit. I've had great experiences with their customer service as well. I've heard people that haven't. I've had great experiences with them. They offer replacement parts. You can get new clips. I got 3 brand new deep carry clips. Well, I guess they wouldn't have sent me all deep carry clips. But I got 3 deep carry clips for these guys right here, and I paid under $20 for them shipped, which is awesome. You know, if you have to go on the secondary market to buy deep carry clips, you know, usually you're spending about that for one clip. So, you know, really, or more than that actually. So was really happy about that. Really happy with their customer service. Also, you know, when I got this knife here, this is the full size Griptilian. I got it. It had a serrated blade with a Tonto tip. Sort of have no use for a blade like that. So I sent it in, and they replaced it with this S30V sheep's foot here. It was a really simple, seamless process, and I paid like $30 to get this new blade on here. So I was really happy about that as well. Some people haven't had great experiences with their customer service. I'm sure that's true with pretty much every company. I can just speak from my personal experience, and from that I can say I had a great experience with their customer service. So that's enough of that. What's the difference between this and the old or the original bug out? Well, first off, that's the reason I never bought a bug out. I went and checked one out at my local sports store, and it was just very plasticky. You know, for me, obviously it's a plastic handle, but what I mean by that is you could press the sides of the handle and you could almost touch them together. They were made out of a material. I'm pretty sure they were made out of a material called Nyrol GTX, which is it's a polymer, which I think they use for pretty much all of their handles up until this point. So what they did is they replaced the full size. They used a material called CF Elite. And then on the Mini, they use a material called Grivery. CF Elite, I asked myself, and I asked this online, what the F is CF Elite? Well, CF Elite is basically like an FRN, fiberglass reinforced nylon, but instead of fiberglass, they use carbon fiber to reinforce the nylon, which makes for a much sturdier handle in this sense, where you can't really squeeze the two sides together, and it feels, you know, it feels a lot sturdier in hand. You don't feel like you're going to pinch your fingers when you squeeze the handle together. Grivery is a material that they use in construction and automotive applications in replace of like metal parts where they want to alleviate some weight. So there you go. That's the difference between the original bug out and these guys. And obviously they've added a DLC coating on here, you know, which they like to charge a little bit more for, understandably. But we'll get into that in a minute. Love the weight and dimension on these guys. They carry so well in pocket. I don't like big, heavy knives in my pocket for everyday carry. This is going to sound weird, but I'm going to say it anyway. I live in Arizona where it is bloody hot. I mean, for 9 months out of the year, it's 100 degrees plus during the day. And when that can cause issues for men around the waistband of your pants. And if you have a pound of gear in your pockets, it can start to create more issues with the waistband of your undies and all that stuff. Without getting into too many details on that, I like to carry a lighter weight knife, you know, especially during the summers here. Something that I can use just to open boxes, bags, stuff like that. And these guys really fit the bill. 1.8 ounces and 1.5 ounces respectively. if you want to compare that to, say, the full-size grip and the mini grip, which why not, right? Why not compare them? You've got almost 4 ounces for the 3.8 for the full-size grip and 2.5 for the mini grip. Now, another huge part is this dimension right here of why it carries so well. You can see just how much thinner, it's hard to see, I'm sorry with that black background, but you can just see how much thinner this handle is than the grip. Still provides a great handle on it, a great feeling in hand, but it just carries much better in pocket. And it's way more evident. I need to fix that. It's way more evident in the full size grip. I mean, this thing is just, compared to the Bugout, it's just a chunk. Now, I do love this knife. Don't get me wrong. It's one of my camping knives. Great knife for doing that. But, for everyday carry, this guy just disappears. The CF Elite disappears in the pocket much, much more than the Griptilian does. And obviously, just because of, like I said, the weight on them and the dimensions, and you're still getting a full size knife with the full size Bugout. You're getting a full 3.5 inch blade. For me, 3.5 inches and above is a full size knife. Some may disagree with that, but it's a lot of bloody blade. And then you got almost 7.5 to 7.75 inch full length on the knife. Mini's going to come in right at about 3 inches with about a 6.5 inch total length. Now, with the mini, you still get I've got about medium-sized hands. I don't have big old ham hocks, but I've got about medium-sized hands. And it still can feel my hand. If I get my finger all the way up on the front there, I can get a full hand on this knife. But like I said, for everyday use that, I'm cutting open bags and boxes and stuff, I'm not going to be, I'm not feathering wood with it or anything. It works really well for that. And, if you've got bigger hands, you need and you just like a bigger knife. This guy is like I said, a full size knife that you're getting for under 2 ounces. And that to me is just really, really good stuff. Now, the reason for that is that they don't have full liners running down the handle. As you can see, this handle is that CF Elite material, and it's sort of like this skeletonized structure inside of the handle. You do get a liner about down to here, and that's what houses the axis lock mechanism. But that's about all the liner you get with it. But that's a big part of why it's so lightweight. Love the blade shape on these guys, man. I'm just a big fan of this blade shape. I've really come around on drop point knives. Never was really a big fan of, especially with Benchmade. Like I had a Benchmade mini grip with a drop point. It was just very underwhelming. Always been a bigger fan of sheep's foot blades, but I've really, really started to come around on drop point. Yes, but Voxnay's had a huge part to do with that, with his awesome blade shapes. But really dig the what is this? A drop point, sort of spear point. I'm bloody hopeless when it comes to blade shapes. There's so many different ones out there, but this is a drop point to me, basic drop point. Yeah, like I said, full size blade, S30V, which to me is a great material, guys. S30V is gets the job done. We're so spoiled nowadays when it comes to knife blade materials, man. A lot of us came up in the era of 420HC. Where now most people are going standard either D2 or one, like on budget knives. You're looking at, most of the time you're getting at least D2 nowadays. Sort of the days of 420HC, 8CR13 MOV are gone, and people, especially in the knife industry, for knives designed for knife guys, you're going to be getting at least D2. But for me, S30V is a great blade steel. Now, from what I understand, S30V, you get slightly better edge retention than with the S35 VN. But I think, what did they add? They added vanadium, I think, to S35 VN. They added something where it makes it a tougher steel, but you don't get as good of an edge retention. But it's tougher, meaning it will withstand shock better than the S30V will. But to me, guys, S30V is great. For everyday use, guys, like I said, cutting open boxes and bags and whatever you might need it for, cutting whatever, you don't need, it's 20 CV or M390. This stuff works just great. And even for harder use, man, I've used the crap out of this this Griptilian. I mean, camping, used and abused it. And I've just run it over a strop, and it's still sharp as ever. So S30V you can use and abuse, or just for everyday carry, it's a great blade steel, in my opinion, and in many other people's opinions. Let's talk more about the axis lock. Like I said, fully ambidextrous, bloody love the axis lock. I mean, it's such a cool innovation. It creates a great detent for the knife. What it also enables you to do is when you release the axis lock, it allows for gravity deployment, which means it's fully one hand open and close. And not only is it one hand open and close, it's very easy one hand open and close. Unlike, maybe say a liner lock where you're having to push it over, then push the blade down on a lot of frame lock knives. This is it's a very simple lock to use. Open, close, gravity deploy, however you want to do it. It's just a very simple lock and fully ambi, which I love. How does it work? So basically there is a flat part on the back of the blade right here. You can see it, it's just right down in here. And when it's closed, the axis lock creates the detent. As you can see, when you pull the knife open, it pushes the axis lock, which has a little barrel on the inside. It's rounded. And then it runs over the rounded part of the tang of the blade and then pops up and locks the blade into place. Very strong lock. There are people out there that do lock comparisons of which one is stronger. If you're really heavy using these guys, which I have with the Griptilian, man, I've never had a problem with it. It's a very, very strong and sturdy lock. Now, is it as strong as, say, the compression lock? I don't think so. I think the compression lock is probably one of the strongest locks out there, just by design. But for usability and ease of use, I really dig the axis lock. I think it's a great innovation and just a perfect lock because it allows a lefty to have the same experience as a righty. And that's all we want in this world, guys. We just want to be treated as equals. Love the deep carry clips on these things. I think they're great. Really cool, really small. They disappear in pocket, perfect height. And like I said, super affordable. I mean, I think they sell them for like $6. And when you compare that to, now, don't get me wrong, love the Lynch clip. But, a Lynch clip's $25. I mean, they're great clips. I mean, they're definitely higher quality than these, but you don't need to buy another clip for them because these are they do the job. They're a great clip. I think they're perfect. Only this much of it comes out, when you're carrying it, it's not super obvious and it just disappears in pocket. And I think they're great deep carry clips on the Bugout. But come on, guys, can we please recess the screws? What is the problem? Do concave screws cost that much more than these kind of screws, whatever you'd call them? I mean, I just don't get it. Recess your screws, recess them. It's so simple. It's such a simple idea, and literally nobody does it. I mean, every single bloody knife I get with a deep carry clip, the pocket screws aren't recessed. It drives me bloody nuts. Just recess your pocket screws, guys. Pocket clip screws. Blade centering on these guys was on point. Not always the case with Benchmade knives. I think that's another big issue a lot of people have with Benchmade knives. Is a lot of times their quality control is not great. I think they're really listening to knife guys and they're starting to really watch stuff like that. Like blade centering. And these guys were perfect. It's so hard to see. I'm sorry. There we go. Blade centering is just right down the middle, which it should be with an axis lock where you don't have a liner lock pushing or a frame lock pushing on either side. It should be pretty bloody simple for you to get the centering perfect on these things, which it is. So look, I mean, for what I can say about these guys, for what I love about them, I really love. I think they're a great quality, lightweight carry, and they disappear in pocket. If you've got, you don't have a need for a full 7.5-inch knife, this mini is awesome. Or if you need a knife for secondary carry, I know a lot of knife guys out there carry several knives on them. If you just want something that's 1.5 ounces, it's not going to weigh you down. If you want to carry a secondary knife, if you've got, say, like a Chris Reeve or a Leon Ma that, if you want a knife that you can hand to people to use, I think this is a great option for a secondary carry or your first carry if you just want something smaller and lightweight. Or say, I know with women, they have issues with deep pockets. And I think this is great. And I think this is a really cool knife for a girl too. I think, I'm not I'm not trying to say anything about sexes here or say anything sexist, but I think this color scheme here really works. I think women would find this a lot prettier than, say, just the murdered out, blacked out version. So if you've got shallower pockets like a lot of women do, I think this is a great knife for females with smaller hands. That's just a fact. Women do have smaller hands, and it's a great sized knife. And if you need a full size knife, you've got bigger hands. Don't want to. This guy for under 2 ounces is really good. Now let's talk about some things, guys. Quality control. Look, I think they've definitely stepped it up, but still, like when I got them, they were a little crunchy, meaning there was like grit down inside the pivot, and really on both of these, it was in the slide for the axis lock. I don't know how these guys can better control the quality of that kind of thing, but I think it's pretty simple because knife companies do it now. What I did is I just blew it out with some compressed air, and then just put a tiny drop of lube down in there. Just some. I'll show you what I use. I have a couple different lubes that I use, but this is a great one right here by Boca. I use knife pivot lube as well, but I just put a couple drops in there, and then just dropped just a little tiny amount, opened and closed it a bunch. Really took care of it, but guys, for what these knives cost, that's not something we should have to do. I just think the quality control, still has a little bit of a ways to go with Benchmade. Not super keen on the color scheme of this mini. White handle, it's just going to get dirty as hell. Some people don't mind that, but I just think, they had white and orange was the only things available in the mini, which is, I actually really kind of, I dig the way that this looks. It looks sort of like an Imperial Stormtrooper from Star Wars, but still, I wish they had. Did I just dork myself out there? I just did, but I just really wish they had maybe come out with a blacked out version like this. I'm sure they will at some stage, but I think white's going to get a little grimy. But hasn't yet. We'll see. We'll see how that works out. The butterfly tax is real, guys. I know there's another YouTube reviewer that talks about the butterfly tax, and it's no joke. This guy here is $145. This one is $139, 130 something. And look, I'm sort of split on this, right? Made in America, that's great. American employees. I've seen the videos of the Benchmade factory. They hire Americans, and that's a great thing. And that's always going to cost more, right? Being made in America, paying Americans, and I'm all on board for that. But it's sort of in that price range, man. They're getting some real competition. I mean, Three Rivers knives. I mean, this guy right here, you can get starting at about, for the G10 version, starting at about $175, only about $30 more than that. You can compare it to like I know a lot of people draw comparisons to the Iona here between the Bugout. You can get this guy for $99 and this guy $120. So I mean, you've got real competition in this price range for knives nowadays. I mean, the Para 3 you can get starting at about, for the S30V version, starting at like $130. So, you've got a lot of competition in this price range, and, I would like to see the price come down on this Bugout. I mean, it just does. It's a really hard pill to swallow, that $145. I just would like to see it just come down just a little bit. Look, it could use a little chamfering on the inside here. I know people have talked about it. I try not to watch reviews on knives before I review them myself, but I know people are talking about the chamfering on this. They could use a little more chamfering around the edges on this thing. It's not terrible. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, it's not like a Delica where it's bloody sharp, but still, I just would like to see a little more chamfering done on the inside of these things. For that. And there's another big design flaw too, is this thing right here. I just wish they had done maybe a little more rounding off of this corner. If you have it in, say, your off pocket and you rub your hand on it, I mean, it's just bloody sharp. I wish they had just done something for this. I think it's a really bad design flaw on this thing. The 90-degree angle right there. Look, besides that though, guys, I really do love these knives. So the $145 to $140, $130, pill that I've got to swallow to own them, I'm still kind of on the fence about, honestly, but I really do dig these things. I love how customizable they are. Rock Scale Designs makes some really cool titanium scales for these things. RC Blade Works, who I got these micarta scales for my smock, makes some really cool micarta designs for these Benchmade Bugouts. I'll put their tag up here on Instagram for RC Blade Works and for Rock Scale Designs. Go over there and check them out, guys. They've got some really cool scales that you can interchange on the full size. I haven't seen any for the mini yet, but for a lot of different knives as well, which you can pimp out. But then you got to think about it. Like, you buy a bug out for $145, you put some new scales on it, or I guess you can get the less expensive version for like $130. Put some scale. I mean, you're looking at about a $200 knife with some new scales, somewhere in there. So I really do like it, guys. I really do like the mini as well. And in the knife world, $145 is sort of really nothing to spend on a knife compared to some other knives that I own. But it is what it is. You can see I'm sort of torn on that. I don't really have an explanation. I don't really have a clear, concise thought on the price and the quality of what you're getting. I do really like these knives, and I'm willing to pay that much for them. Let's just say that. I really do recommend this mini, guys. People have asked me about it. And if you want a knife to carry for a secondary knife, or if you're a woman looking for a smaller knife that'll fit in your little tiny jeans pockets, for some reason they're really tiny, I think this is a great knife. And I really dig this, man. I know why a lot of people own this knife now. I'm really digging it. I'm really digging the CF Elite handle scale. So there you go, guys. If you do have any questions for me about these guys, please don't hesitate to ask. Follow me on Instagram. If you want to see I post knife pics. That's it. Knife and fishing pics. And, I do put a lot of opinions on there about my knives as well. So if you want to follow me on Instagram, that'd be great. You can like and subscribe to my channel. I'd appreciate that as well. But you don't have to. Only if you want to. Obviously, I'm not going to force you, because I can't. I can't climb through the screen and force you to do it. But I would appreciate it if you did. Anyway, thanks a lot for watching, guys. I got some reviews coming out soon on some knives. I can't wait to do that. But anyway, thank you so much for watching my channel. Like I said, like and subscribe. And every single one of you have a fantastic rest of your day. And hope you like this video. Thank you.